English, Grade 4, Block 11, Visualizing Story Details. LP 124 by Teacher Shikha. In this lesson, student will read and study the story The Tale of Peter Rabbit. First, they will identify the elements of a fiction story. Second, they will use sensory details to visualize the story. Then they will identify and use order words to sequence the events of the story. Finally, they will retell the story in sequence using both sensory details and order words. Hey children, we have already done one fiction story called The Magic Spell. Today, we will read another fiction story to find out what elements all fiction stories have. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Children, please read the story with me. We have to find out who are the characters in this story, where does the story take place, what is the rising action in the story, and what is the most exciting part in the end? Where is Peter at the end of the story? Let's start. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother underneath the root of a very big tree. Now, my dears, said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, you may go to the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Now run along and don't get into trouble. I am going out. Old Mrs. Rabbit took her basket and umbrella and went through the woods to the bakery. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 sweets. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane together to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First, he ate some lettuce and some French beans, and then he ate some radish. After that, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But around the end of the cucumber plant, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter when he spotted him, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was dreadfully scared. He rushed all over the garden. He had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one shoe among the cabbages and the other among the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went even faster. He might have got away if he had not run into a gooseberry net that caught one of the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter shed big tears, and his sobs were overheard by some friendly birds that flew down to help free Peter. Mr. McGregor came up waving a shovel, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. He rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, maybe under a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Just then Peter sneezed. "Achoo!" Mr. McGregor was after him in no time and tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window. So, children, have you noticed how naughty this Peter Rabbit is? Other rabbits are so obedient, right? Now we will read the other part of the story in next video. Till then, have a great day ahead. Thank you, children. Bye bye.